Welcome in, guys. This is your main host, Daft Kid, here from the EDM Filter Radio Show, or should I say not EDM Filter Show. Well, seems like it's just me today, which is okay. Exoh won't be joining us, but he'll definitely be joining us on the next episode. Today, I kind of wanted to more get into something that is, well, I would consider to be big news. I don't know if you guys heard, earlier this week, Daft Punk announced that they're going to be coming out with an anniversary edition of Random Access Memories, 10th anniversary. And specifically, they're talking about releasing unreleased music. And I quote, Daft Punk announced an expanded 10th anniversary edition of their album, Random Access Memories, featuring 35 minutes of previously unreleased music. Now, I don't know about you guys, I'm trying not to be biased here, but that sounds completely awesome because I remember when that album came out, it didn't really get the credit and recognition that it deserved, which is really unfortunate because I thought it was a great album. I mean, they ended up winning Album of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. And just to think that someone like them, without the kind of following that you'd expect, you know, these other big timers, so to speak, to have. I mean, first of all, let's just keep it straight, okay? They made it to the Grammy nominations for Best Album. Okay, and if you haven't heard the album, first of all, definitely go give it a shot. You know, these guys are supposed to be legends, so if you haven't heard it, that makes me a little sad, but it's okay. You have time to go check it out. Because what really makes me sad, actually, is that this release, so I like how they, you know, talk about this earlier this week, and, you know, great promotion for it all over social. If you guys aren't following DJ Mag, actually, definitely follow DJ Mag on all socials. DJ Mag is always on top of Daft Punk news, so I give him credit for that. Good job, guys. I mean, come on, 35 minutes of unreleased content. What more could you ask for? At least for me, I'm super hyped because I really like the album, and I'm trying not to be biased, but you know, when you really put in consideration that they got nominated that year for Best Album, considering that they are a electronic band, if you will, or duo that isn't really popular. You know, everyone knows the song like Around the World and stuff like that. Harder, Faster, Stronger. Those are supposed to be like the popular ones, right? But even then, like, I feel like every time I brought it up in conversations, whether it be artists, people who are just into music, whatever, casual music goers, like it takes a second for them to remember, like, oh yeah, I think I know who Daft Punk is, and yeah, oh yeah, Around the World, of course I've heard that song, it's a classic. But then they can't say who the artist is, so it's like, oh, guess it's not really a classic after all. Okay. But nothing against those people though, just get them a hard time right now. But I'll tell you guys what really makes me sad. These guys announced earlier this week about this new anniversary edition album, which I think is very much needed. I think it's 100% very much needed. I think they deserve to release more content. For those who have been following them for some time, they announced, that they were breaking up, right? About a year ago now. And I think what was really more of a letdown wasn't so much them retiring, so to speak, or stepping away from music. I think it was more so all the hype behind the album that they were planning to release. They were kind of teasing all the fans, if you will, for some time that they were going to release a new album that's supposed to be the successor to Random Access Memories. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it was going to be like a part 2 or anything like that, but I'm going to speak here as a fan. I expected to get something that was kind of more a modern take of EDM or just electronic music. I don't even know if I could really categorize them as EDM, because I mean, the EDM we know is what we see at like all the festivals. Even guys like, actually I was just hearing a new Tiesto remix of On Blue with David Guetta, his take on the song. And it's kind of crazy actually to see that guys like Tiesto are still in the scene and still making like legit music. I mean, this is stuff that like even I would want to play either in my mixes or the next time I perform somewhere. I want to be able to be like, yeah, this is gonna be my go-to drop midway through my set or something, because I know it's just gonna be a heavy hitter. The fact that I could say that about Tiesto when he's been in the biz, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, leave a comment in the section below, but he's been in the scene since like the 80s, right? Especially in the 90s, no doubt. I know he was already clubbing in the 90s, but maybe he was doing other stuff I'm not aware of right now, back in the 80s. But just to put it in perspective, I mean, let's just say the 90s for a second, okay? Let's just say the year 1990. He's been in the scene since 1990, and we're already in 2023, and he's still killing it. I mean, the dude's practically like the godfather of like electronic music at this point, right? And he's over here still making these youngsters look like youngsters, if you will. But it's okay. Everything's going to be just fine. I'm sure everything's going to be just fine. But let me tell you guys, Daft Punk's been in it since the 80s for sure. So I guess you could argue they've been in it a little longer than say Daft Punk or say than Tiesto has. Although I would say for sure they're in the same category, generation, and all that. These guys were already making it in the scene though, in the 80s, and I'm sure Tiesto was too. But these guys, to be at the age that they are now, I think it's fine that they retired last year. I think it was completely okay that they decided to move away from the mantle, so to speak, especially when you really consider all the kind of music that's coming out nowadays. It's pretty crazy, actually, when you put into consideration just like the level of electronic music that we're getting nowadays compared to what you would have gone back in the day. I like to tell people like the 2000s is a perfect example of that. I remember like Benny Benassi, who's still in the scene from what I'm seeing. Okay. He still making good music. Still making music that I want to put in my mix and maybe put in a set, and better yet, put in a performance. Why not? The guy technically is an OG. He's kind of a legend, at least in my book. Can't speak for you guys. Definitely leave in the comment section below who your guys' favorite artists are, but that he's been in the game for a while too. And so I like to think though, like during that time, I'm kind of thinking right now around 2006, 7, 8, maybe even 2009, like that was when things started to really begin to change up a bit. And I think once we got more towards 2012, 13, is when we pretty much got what we see today. By the way, any of you guys going to any festivals, let us know in the comments below. I hear EDC this year is going to be pretty nice, but these guys are really on a different level. Talk about marketing, because I'm over here getting really excited. I'm already posting on our socials like, dude, have you guys heard the new content? These guys aren't releasing this till the 12th of May of this year. The 12th of May. And I quote, set for release on 12th of May, the new edition of the 5-time Grammy Award-winning album will include 9 tracks worth of unheard music, comprising demos and outtakes from the recording sessions. That's good stuff right there, man. That's good stuff. And like I was saying earlier, I don't think this album in general got the credit that it deserved, because again, going back to what I was saying, I think the fans were expecting something more elevated from this, so kind of like a part 2, if you will. But I was also kind of expecting something completely different, which is what I think in general what people want. But needless to say, I think they wanted something more, I guess, traditional Daft Punk sound music. I would think, especially, we already brought up tracks like Around the World. There's been so many different takes on that track alone, remixes, revamps, bootlegs, if you will, that sound great. It's a different taste on what the iconic sound of Daft Punk is, and I think that's what they were trying to do in this new album that they wanted to release. But for whatever reasons, they decided they were going to hang the coats, hang the mantle, and step away, which I think is perfectly fine, because these guys are wouldn't call them old, but they're kind of up there.
Holy fuck.
Love you guys, by the way. But anyways, I think this is exactly what the fans need. I think this is big news for just like electronic music in general, because it's always nice to hear like OG legends like Daft Punk come out and say, yeah, we stepped away, but you know what? I think we still got something for you guys that you guys are going to appreciate. It really kind of hurts me, to be honest, to have to wait till May to hear this stuff, because I was so ready to come on here and tell you guys in detail what I think about all the extra content. Again, a lot of people didn't really like this take of Daft Punk when it came out. I remember I had to argue with a lot of people in my inner circle, producers, engineers, DJs, who just simply didn't like it. They thought it wasn't, like I mentioned, the traditional sound that Daft Punk produces, and it wasn't music that you could really slap in the clubs, so to speak. And I think that's really what it comes down to. These guys want to be able to have music that they could put in mixes, performing clubs, if you will, or any other kind of performances, and be able to remix it themselves. It's kind of really interesting to hear and see different people's takes on this, but even more so how Daft Punk went away from all that traditional stuff, which is what fans would argue that's what they wanted. So I remember specifically people were not happy, and you could say because of the reasons that I just mentioned, but then also too, on the low, I think there were more fans than even they expected, and so they're kind of like pretending like they're just normal music goer listeners, particularly Daft Punk music, and then in the end they're like, oh, but just wasn't right for them to do this to us. But hey, again, as a fan, I totally get it, but I also totally get why they did this and why they went this route, getting guys like Pharrell onto their album, and again, like I mentioned, to get even nominated in a kind of space and time of music where electronic music, and mind you, it's 2023 right now when I'm making this recording, but in 2013 there was really no real level of respect, from my understanding, in the industry when it came to making mastery, if you will, electronic music, music that is awe-inspiring, if you will, to the point where you get nominated for a Grammy, and then for these guys to win it, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Actually, though, in a sense, I would say it gives all my electronic music goers, producers, DJs, if you will, all the hope in the world to keep trying. And again, we're talking about this is back in 2013. Maybe because I'm not as on top of the Grammy stuff as maybe I should be lately. Correct me, guys, in the comment section below if there's been another electronic duo, solo artist, band, any of that stuff in electronic music in general who's won a Grammy since. I don't think I know anybody, but that's just me. Please, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. I wish I had like the ultimate memory brain that just knew every little detail, but I don't, unfortunately. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to quickly cover this topic today. I thought this is great news, I think, specifically for the fans. And again, I'm really trying not to speak from a biased perspective here, but I just think this is great for the scene in general, because I think we've gone so far away from this traditional sound that Daft Punk created way back in the 80s and 90s to what we have now. This is just my opinion, of course, and I'd love to hear more from you guys in the comment section below. But we have a lot of harder, intense, punchy music nowadays than we did way back when, and I think it's really a kind of an evolution in a sense of where the industry is heading, whether it be good or bad. I can't really say right now, because I kind of like a lot of the new music that's coming out, but I really don't like a lot of it as well. And that's nothing against the artists, that's nothing against the genres or any of the fans who are into that kind of music. I mean, everyone's into their own thing, and so I'm not going to tell you here that you're listening to the wrong stuff, but definitely some of it does hit pretty hard for me, and some of it doesn't at all. And actually, on the contrary, I wouldn't say it's annoying, maybe a little frustrating, because I just, some of this music, in my opinion, doesn't give the same kind of vibe as a lot of the electronic music that was released in the 2000s and even the 2010s, as they say. It just seems like it's way more chaotic in a sense. There's just so much going on now in a lot of these tracks, and to me, it kind of dithers away from your typical sound design, if you will. And that's not a bad thing. Again, this is kind of an evolution that we're kind of going through, where we're headed in electronic music. But at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of people that might feel like me that it's mixed opinions. That could be a good thing and that could be a bad thing, but I'm excited to see where this all goes. But I'm more excited to see that Daft Punk at the end of the day decided to release something for the fans, and they never disappointed. Although they are considered, I think, for the newer generations, old school, if you will. But I think it's okay. I do want to quickly touch on one topic here that I think actually kind of plays a part with this new announcement. And please, guys, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name, and please correct me in the comment section below on how you properly pronounce his name. Leiji Matsumoto. He was one of the artists, if not the main artist, behind Daft Punk. Daft Punk's One More Time and Digital Love videos, music videos. If you guys aren't aware, he died actually earlier this week, if not mistaken, at age 85. Rest in peace to him. If you guys haven't seen all of Daft Punk's old content, like their music videos of what they were making in the 90s and early 2000s, definitely check it out. It's an unfortunate loss for Daft Punk, but that's just life, I guess, right, guys? And I think it's interesting to see that he just passed away, unfortunately. Rest in peace to him, and prayers goes out to him and his family. But to see that they announced this new album bonus, if you will, the same week, and I think it's in honor of him, which is completely fair, which what makes this announcement even more exciting for me, because I know that Matsumoto did some really special stuff for Daft Punk, and I think Daft Punk's ready to do something special for him. So anyways, guys, this has been Daft Kid. I think this is great news again. Can't wait to see you guys on the next episode. See you later. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. We were really happy to have you here with us. Of course, please continue to follow us on Instagram, Snap, Face, Twitter, and we're even actually now trying to put our episodes on Mixcloud. So if you guys already have a Mixcloud, definitely check that out. We have a very special guest coming in for the next episode. Hopefully, we can make it all work out sooner than later. He has already mentioned to us that he has something very special in store for us. So I'm very excited. Can't wait to have you guys back, and we'll see you on the next one.